What's your opinion on Alfred as a unit? Which Alfred? Thracia Alfred or Engage Alfred? Because I have very different opinions on the two of them. Engage Alfred, I think, is legitimately kind of bad. I say kind of, legitimately very bad. Being a Lance user really does not help him. As well. Holy shit, these guys hit hard. His bulk is enough that enemies want to attack him early? What? I don't know what that means. His bulk is enough to enemies want to attack him early. Sorry, I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be like facetious. His bulk? I'm assuming, is there a typo in that or something?
Let's go.
Okay, we got the dizzy as well. Alfred doesn't prevent counterattack because enemies deal more than 0 damage. That's true of every unit though. Even Louis on maddening mode. Cause I'm assuming we're talking about maddening if you're talking about enemies not attacking you because you're too bulky, but that's true of literally everyone then. Louis takes damage on maddening mode. And Louis is the bulkiest unit you've got in terms of physical defenses. Now, maybe if you put, like, some defense-boosting skills on him... But then, if that's the case, like... I mean, I don't even think Alfred is bulky. I think, doesn't he get, like, 2 rounded a ton? His bases are pretty awful, and his growths are not very good either. And a lot of his bases are... carried by his class, so reclassing Alfred is kind of out of the question, which hurts as well. We cleared a path for the babies. His defense isn't good enough. Yeah. I think he's a unit who suffers a lot from a lot of different factors. He suffers from the fact he's a Lance unit, which I think is the least desirable unit type to be because there's so many of them. He suffers from the fact that his bases are not particularly good. And his growths are not particularly good. He suffers from Engage's growths experience formula being particularly unkind to growth-focused units. So as an early joiner, he suffers from the fact that being horse-mounted isn't actually all that desirable, aside from Sigurd emblem, and then he suffers from Vander's existence because Vander uses Sigurd better than him. And by the time Vander falls off, you just get Amber, who's phenomenal. He suffers from his terminal illness. He does also suffer from his terminal illness. That is true. Alfred's existence is suffering. I would say the terminal illness character being awful is thematically good. I guess? Kinda? Alfred has a 40% defense, strength, and speed without his class growths. Is that even good in Engage, though? Like, genuine question. I don't think it is. Maybe his bases are just so far behind that it seems like his growths are bad because of the bad experience rate.
Let's go.
It could be that. It could be that I've Mandela affected myself into thinking his growths are bad because he never gains experience, because nobody fucking gains experience in that game. They revive each other? That's horseshit. His class growths are like only 10. Is that the problem? Is it his class growths? But then the problem is his class has good bases. So if you want to use better class growths, you reclass out. And then you lose the bases and you become an even worse growth unit. I should link the Alfred is not D tier video. I mean, if your argument is... I hope this doesn't come off as mean, but if your argument is some YouTuber has a hot take, like just speaking as a YouTuber, YouTuber hot takes are not super convincing to me. There's a reason people use the phrase YouTuber opinion. He has bad con. Does con actually matter in Engage? I think for most units, most units have bad con, right? So like, at that point it doesn't really matter. I don't know, I think people overstate the importance of con. Fucking like con plus instead of speed plus is the most fucking... I'm gonna die. 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 Fake gamer. Oh, they got to Gale Force me because of the speed difference. Con matters a little bit. When I say I don't think con matters, I don't mean it literally doesn't matter. I mean, people overemphasize con so much when the only way con matters, right, is in how it affects your attack speed. If a unit has bad constitution but good speed and they even out, like someone like Lapis, right? Lapis versus Diamant have about the same speed tier. And so the like Lapis has bad con, Diamant has good con argument really feels like it's missing the broader point, right? Or give a unit con plus. Oh, that's the one that like gets me the most, is people who are like, the early game characters get access to early emblem skills, which makes them better than like, Lapis is better than Kagetsu because she gets con plus. Yeah, let's just reset. Fake gamer moment. Alfred's class strength, speed, defense modifiers are 15, 5, 20, 15, 10, 25. It's the speed. I'm gonna need more than just numbers. I need to know what those numbers are. 15, 5, 20, 15, 10, 25 could mean literally anything. Like, is that his strength growth? Is that his defense growth? I don't think anyone thinks Con Plus is good anymore. Then you are a lucky person to not be interacting with YouTube comment sections. Let me tell you, people still think Con Plus is an argument for like Lapis over Kagetsu type nonsense. Those are the class growth modifiers. I know that. I don't know what growth each modifier corresponds to. Like, I don't know what order you put them in. You just threw numbers at me. I don't know what each number is. Strength, speed, defense. So 15% strength growth, 5% speed growth, 20% defense growth. Is that what it is? So then the conclusion is, have I just Mandela affected myself into thinking the growth rates are bad because it's actually the experience rate that's bad? Is that the conclusion we're coming to? I'm fine with that conclusion. It still means Alfred is bad. It still means Alfred is bad because he's got terrible bases and growing him is a Sisyphean task. Let's go. Alfred's bases are fine until Chapter 8. Till Chapter 8? Wait, we're saying until Chapter 8? Nah. Nah, no fucking shot. No fucking shot. I don't think his bases are fine even in his join map, but I understand that that's, you know, I'm arguing against someone who thinks Alfred is good, right? Chapter 8 is an absurd benchmark. Not even Vander has bases that are fine until Chapter 8. Alfred's ass isn't even competitive in 7. I think Alfred is an argument for the first undeployed unit in 6, right? You first undeploy someone in 6, the Yunaka map. If I remember correctly. Well, that's if you get Jean. If you get Jean. I don't know. I'd feel Jean over Alfred. That's a second staffer. Second Chi Adept gives you some more flexibility than like a shitty Cav does. You choose between Jean, Bouche, and Alfred. Yeah, Boucheron's another undeploy. Boucheron's another undeploy. That is true. In fact, I think, as much as I love the Bouche, I think he's probably the better undeploy than Alfred. But then you get Yunaka and they both hit the bench, right? But I do think Alfred gets deployed on the Yunaka map. Because I think Boucheron is worse. In just almost every imaginable way. Why not Klon? Why Klon? Dude does decent magical chip. I don't think he's great long term, but like, I'll take 2 mages in that map. You have 5 bench slots in Chapter 7, assuming you do both the Jean and Anna paralog. Alright, who rebench in Chapter 7 usually, right? Alfred, Boucheron, probably Jean, unless you're doing like, well, I guess second Chi Adept, right? Klon definitely hits the bench at that point. If we're benching 5 people, 7 is the Alchrist map, right? So I can see benching Etier if you only want 1 archer. Who else we benching? 5 is so many. That might be the bench Vander map for some people. I think Vander probably justifies it, depending, you know. Anna's benchable. Oh, right. I forgot Anna exists. Yeah, bench Anna fucking 100% of the time. I mean, unless you're doing the all-in Anna run. Which exists, you know, the all-in Anna run exists. Jean is more justifiable than Anna if you're not doing the Jean run. Compared to like Anna if you're not doing the Anna run. There's only 4 bench slots. Oh, well then it's easy. Anna, Alfred, Klon, and Boucheron. Bencheron. 7 deployed, 10 total. Oh, well then it's just Anna, Boucheron, Alfred. I got distracted by chat and failed fake gamer. Anna's a mage in a physical class until promotion. Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible. How far is she from promotion? Like 3 levels? Anna's bigger problem is just, you know, growth unit moment. Growth unit in engage moment. Like, engage is just not friendly to growth units. Unironically, 0% Alfred with the defense bond ring goes until chapter 8. If he dies, leave him dead, and I'm wrong. What? I can tell you from having played 0%, Alfred does not perform until chapter 8, no matter what fucking rings you give him. That is, I mean, you'll see when the episodes come out, but Alfred is, Alfred is not a 0% unit. That is, I mean, unless you've got some strategies I didn't cook up. Maybe I just don't know the Alfred 0% tech. But, in my run, he did not do well. I did do some tech with him. I think he did some stuff in chapter 5 that was nice. If I remember correctly. Oh my god, we were so close to killing them with that first flower. That's so sad. Alfred is so irrelevant, he's the only royal who's level 5 still. I don't know. He has functional Aegis. It's named something different, but it's basically Aegis. It's modern Pavise. Yeah. I remember watching a tier list where someone said Alfred's low speed is actually good because it gives him more chances to activate his personal skill, and I'm just like, but he would take less damage if he didn't get doubled. No, the low speed makes him tankier because if he gets doubled, he can Aegis more often. Engage is still kind of the Wild West in terms of just very bad takes. I think in part because it is such a straightforward game in terms of rating the cast, that there haven't been that many, like, there haven't been that many, like, stealthily this unit is good videos. Because the units that are good are not stealthily good, right? Like, the closest you get to a unit being stealthily good is Kagetsu convinces you he's mid by being in Swordmaster, but then when you reclass him, it's like, oh, he's obviously good, actually. I've genuinely seen Tamara put in S tier. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Tamara's bad for straightforward reasons, right? So that's why there's a lack of, like, here's why this unit is actually good, here's why this unit is actually bad. Because they'd be the most boring videos on the planet. And they'd just get people mad. They would just get the people who disagree mad, and they wouldn't convince anyone of anything because they're all just the easiest things to say, right? It's like Tamara's bad because her stats are bad, and Sandstorm is not a reliable proc. The closest you can get to interesting units is pointing out that Etier and Alchrist are actually the fucking same thing. Because there's so much, like, rage war about those two units. Pointing out that if Alchrist can quad, his chance at Lunaing is the same as Etier's accuracy, is, like, the most interesting Engage's cast gets. People should do hot takes more. I don't think a hot take is inherently good, though. A hot take's only good if it's, like, if it's actually got something behind it, right? Just shouting at something unhinged into the void, like Anna top 2, is not a hot take. Or it is a hot take, but it's not like, it doesn't have value to it, right? Like, what's the logic there? I like growth units. Panette isn't surprisingly good. She even makes you think Berserker is good. Yeah, Panette, I used Panette in my first playthrough for like 2 chapters and then benched her because Berserker. No more Archer debates. Forges carry most units. Forges do carry most units, but then I'm sick of seeing like the Forge argument for like, if you point out that there's like favoritism on something, right? So, okay, for example, right? If you give Tamara a +5 javelin on her join map and give her access to all the best skills immediately. Oh, is there no back? Oh, no, there is backtracking.
Let's go.
That's undeniably favoritism, right? But people will say that's not favoritism, everyone needs a forge. Yes, everyone gets a forge by endgame. Getting a +5 forge immediately in the mid-game is actually favoritism. Investment makes units good, therefore invest in everyone equally. I disagree with that. I do think you should give investment, you know, based on who benefits from it the most, and also who benefits your team the most, right? I don't necessarily think Engage is the best one to give an example of that for. But something like, you know, Fate's Conquest, right? Spending, it's 4,000 gold on Nosferatu for Odin is undeniably investment and / or favoritism. But it helps your team out more than that 4,000 gold would on like a bronze axe for Arthur, right? Odin can sweep entire portions on his own, which is something you can't say for someone else given 4,000 gold. Similarly, giving Mozu the first heart seal, right? Or at least the first heart seal. Those are both units that appreciate early heart seals. That's favoritism. You can't say it's not. But they benefit from it more than like Niles going to Dark Mage, right? And so I think that we can acknowledge favoritism while also not making it like a death knell in the unit. A unit can still be good even if they require favoritism. We should factor it in, right? No fucking give Radiant Dawn Jill every single stat booster in the world and then pretend you didn't. Like the old meta. But like give Radiant Dawn Jill a forge and she'll do fine. A forge and a Seraph Robe and she'll do great, right? Figure out what investment helps your team the most and do that. It's basis cost versus reward. Yeah, exactly. Winter intermission. Winter emission. You got it. You fucking nailed the hit on the head. It's the reward for the investment. Yep. People don't talk about the cheap +1 forges enough. For Engage or Fates, because I kind of brought up both. And Radiant Dawn. But Radiant Dawn, you don't want to go +1. Like, you have the money for more. So I'm assuming you're talking about either +1 in Fates, which, like, is huge, or +1 in Engage. In Engage, yeah. No, I agree. I think units who benefit from small forges over units who benefit from large forges, at least immediately, right? Like, obviously, by endgame, we've got the budget to give everyone, like, a +3 to 5 forge, depending on what they need. But if, like, I don't really know a unit off the top of my head who needs, like, a +1 to reach a benchmark, but someone who does, like, that's something, right? Archer Mozu is investment, but the same investment gives you Troubadour Effie, and the reward isn't the same. Yeah, exactly. that's not to say Archer, Mozu, and Wyvern Release are the only valid uses of the first seals. In fact, I would argue you don't even need to use the first seals on the pre-Chapter 10 squad, right? Like, remember, they're also part of a set of only 6 seals you get before, like, Chapter 20. I think it's valid to save one or both of those seals for someone else, right? Like, Laszlo might want it, Selena might want it. There's a lot of people who want those seals. Oh my god, we're in the upstairs. Oh, I forgot this is just Dark Hub World. It's so good. Oh, Toadsworths. I forgot about the evil Toadsworths. I fucked that one up. Does Nyx get credit for Hayato Dark Mage? I think so. In Rev, you mean, specifically? I personally do give credit. That's one of the reasons I have her above Odin. I made a video recently on Nyx versus Odin. And that was one of the things that got brought up. Those saucers overhead are preventing our progression. I wonder if there's any way to chase them off. For the time being, let's look for an alternative route.
Go.
Evil Toadsworth time. Is it better to make a good unit amazing or a bad unit good? I think it depends on the game, but usually it's better to make a good unit better. Fire Emblem is a game where, in general, you're gonna want, or it's a series where, in general, you're gonna want a singular super unit instead of an army of okay people, right? Communism doesn't work in Fire Emblem. Because usually you want, like, 4 or 5 main people, and then a bunch of people supporting them, either as chipbots or, you know, filler combat, teaming up to do side objectives while they tackle the main objective, rally bot, pair up bot, heal bot. So I think in general, and it's case-by-case basis, but I think in general, it is more productive to... Oh, it's another ball time. Put up walls. They put up the ball walls. Filler combat's an important role, but some units can do that with less investment than others. I also think it depends on, like, how good are we making the bad unit? versus does the great unit need support, right? Because if you're making a unit go from, like, dies to everything to gets, like, 3-rounded, then I don't think that investment's worth it, right? But if you're making a unit go from, like, dies to everything to murders everything for free, then that might be worthwhile, right? Like, that's why it's sort of a case by case. Mozu as a villager, pretty terrible. Mozu as an archer, pretty phenomenal, right? And can be a core member of your team. Conquest is also just sort of the exception in a lot of ways, because it is a harder game. And you want to have, like, a more fleshed out team. Why not, without grinding, use everyone and have good stats? Well, because are they going to be good enough? In general, spreading out your experience hurts your team rather than helping it. That's why, I mean, it's the lesson of Jagens, right? Having a super strong Seth is so helpful in the early game, despite the fact that the other units are not super strong, right? Having a super strong Titania is so helpful in the early game, even though the other units are not super strong. That's kind of the lesson Jagens teach us, is like having a super unit or multiple super units is really, really beneficial, more so than having an army of equally strong people. And that's why, like, the Dawn Brigade tends to struggle in the early game, is they've got an army of equally strong people until Soth shows up, then they've got a super unit, and then things are easier. Right?